with that Alabama pipeline at the position of running back, they're typically 3 or 4 deep in regards to NFL prospects. And that's happened, of course, since Nick Saban stepped on campus, that you would think, well, if there's a position in college football that doesn't need the transfer portal, it's Alabama at running back, because they can certainly just recruit them straight from high school and be just fine. But one of the guys that may prove to be integral to this offense, and one of the more added additions that could prove pivotal in the SEC race this year, Jahmyr Gibbs, coming in from Georgia Tech.
If Nick Saban is raving about a player during spring, our ears should prick up, because that is, I think, substantial. Gibbs so far has been outstanding. He's won some of their offseason conditioning awards, which is interesting. Bryce Young, the Alabama quarterback, has really been impressed with him. Gibbs not only gives you a running threat, he also gives you a receiving threat also. And I'm sure he's learned how to block. I mean, when you run for what, Mark, 1,300 yards at Georgia Tech, you really do kind of wonder in your mind what he could do with Alabama. Now, they will be deep at running back, but we have to remember part of the problem with Alabama were the number of injuries that they had. And frankly, Brian Robinson, I'm not going to say was the only back they had, because they also had Trey Sanders. Remember Drew Sanders? They're not related, but he went to Arkansas on that way too. So so they're going to be, I think, in pretty good shape at running back. A lot of the guys who've been hurt, like McClellan, are on the mend. But right now, Jahmyr Gibbs comes in. He's ready to plug and play, which I think it's going to be fascinating to see, and with the promise that he's got. Saban also talked a lot about Kendron Law, who's a freshman wide receiver, that he's picked up things very quickly and has the correct mindset, as Saban also said. I mentioned McClellan. That's Jace McClellan, Rodell Williams, the running backs who had ACL injuries. They're back. They're in black jerseys, that they're not doing a whole lot right now. And also Eli Ricks, who came from LSU. The cornerback had a shoulder situation. They're being pretty gingerly approaching with him. So I think they're going to be excited about what he can do too. But along with Bryce Young, you can read between the lines here, Mark. Offensively, another year with a tremendous amount of weapons for Alabama. By the time the season comes around and these guys are healed and ready to go.
Yeah, some of the letdown in the offense that we saw last season was very talented players being plugged in at the last minute due to injuries. Now with a full offseason, I can't imagine that anybody out there that follows this thing has little doubt that there'll be a well-oiled machine when it's go time in September, because that has always been the case at Alabama. Now with one Kendrick Law, he's the third-rated athlete in the athlete category coming out of high school in Louisiana, top 10 player in this state, and a top 100 player nationally, which is the norm. There at Bama, of course, they typically grab about 13 or 14 of those top 100 players.
Yeah. Well, and also let me say what he said about Kendrick Law, really nice job, picked up on things, the right mindset. He's not just talking to the media, as you know, Mark. He's talking to his team, and he's talking to his wide receivers. And the message there is guys, you need to be ready to go. You need to have the right mindset. And we've got a freshman here who is prepared and ready to go. Had a great spring. We're hoping you do the same thing. That's the message.
That's it. Nick Saban always has a motive. There's always a reason for everything that comes out of his mouth, and for any top flight college coach.